Chris Williamson is the host of Modern Wisdom. Very excited to say he's taking a few minutes to sit down with us here at South by Southwest in Austin, Texas. Chris, good to have you.
What's happening? Good. How are you?
There's a dream we're living it, man.
Yes.
And
correct.
it's great to chat with you. For people who might be a bit unfamiliar with Modern Wisdom, tell people what they can expect if they see this interview and say, oh, I can't wait to watch this dude.
Of course. How could you say anything else? It is a podcast that helps you understand yourself and the world around you. There's 900 episodes, so there's quite a bit to dig into. A lot of human nature, psychology, social science, philosophy, culture, health, fitness, sex, relationships. Anything I've been interested in for the last 7 years of my life, and you kind of get to come along on a ride as I get distracted or curious about new topics, and then I try and find someone who's really interesting talking about that. And maybe you get to learn some stuff.
From listening and watching it as I have, I get the sense that if there's a question that the viewer or listener is having, that's the question that you also have. So it seems like a very authentic extension of your own curiosity.
Very much so, yeah. I think it's a thinly veiled autobiography masquerading as a podcast.
Nice, I like that. Obviously, we're doing this interview here at the Spotify house in Austin. Talk to me about using Spotify as a platform, not just for people to listen, but for people to view as well. The push into video podcasting seems to be such a priority for the platform.
Yes, we didn't do video at all on Spotify until about 4 months ago. So even though we've had video for a long time, we only just began to do it. And yeah, we saw some huge increase. The team told me a 36% increase in January. And the only thing that we changed was adding video, which is pretty crazy. So I think it just shows, even for a mature show like mine that's been around for ages, if you start to add video on Spotify, you end up with a lot more engagement, maybe even just from your existing audience, which is pretty cool.
Do you have a sense currently of your breakdown, the percentage of people that are listening versus viewing it now that Spotify has made the visual component such a priority?
I don't know if you can see whether people are watching it or just listening to it.
Sure.
I don't actually know if that data is available. Spotify team, if you can give me that, that'd be great. But look, I certainly know that we spend a lot of money and time trying to make it look pretty. So at the very least, we're not wasting our efforts creating something that only a little bit of the internet gets to see.
Sure. Yeah, I think that the way the visual of it gives it this legitimacy to people who are seeing it for the first time. Like it is visually striking.
It's more intimate as well. You know, and some stuff that happens on episodes you don't even hear. The way that somebody sort of looks or smiles or grimaces when they start to tell a story or react to something, you know, it's important, I think, to be able to see that. And sure, if you're washing the dishes or driving somewhere, just pop your headphones in and away you go. But you do get more. You get a more immersive sense about what the conversation was like if you can see it as well.
Favorite guest or favorite episode that you've done?
That's like trying to get me to choose from 900 children, which is very difficult.
Exactly what I'm asking you. Of your 900 children.
Matthew McConaughey recently has been very fun. We got a 100-year-old abandoned barn in the outskirts of Texas and threw him upstairs, and he's just the most charismatic, lovely man, very insightful. We talked about relationships. We talked about where self-confidence comes from, how to bounce back from failure. We did a review of Interstellar's 10-year anniversary, like went everywhere. And he's just, he might be the most charismatic man I've ever met in my life. And I kind of love him, so.
I'm interested in learning about your production schedule. I think you release about 3 a week. In fact, I think your team released one earlier today that we're having this conversation on a Saturday.
Correct.
So what does that look like from your end as the creator in terms of planning, pre-production, booking? As I certainly know, it's a lot more than the average viewer at home would recognize.
Yeah, it's kind of like Navy SEAL Hell Week for producing podcasts, but I've done it for 5 years. So, you know, we did 1 a week for the first year, 2 a week for the second, and then since 2020, we've done 3 episodes a week, and I don't think we've missed a single one. I ruptured an Achilles, and I didn't miss uploading. Wow. So I created a new type of studio where my foot was above my heart. Yeah, so that I got and then had the laptop here and had a mic on coming in here and got to have a chat.
Wow,
so that was exciting.
The commitment, impressive.
If you're going to do it right. So yeah, look, it's a lot of work. And for a very long time, it was just me. It was me and my editor in a Facebook Messenger chat for 500 episodes. And only very recently have we got an audio manager and a general manager and a YouTube guy or whatever. It's work, but I enjoy it. And the conversations are so compelling and the project is so personal to me that some administrative burden that I've got to deal with is a light price to pay in order to be able to do the thing that I actually want to do.
Do you remember the episode or the show, the moment that made you and your team say, aha, we've made it. Now it's really taken off?
Oh, that's interesting. It's very gradual. There's huge big bumps. The first time I did Rogan's show, and then the second time I did Rogan's show, both of those felt like landmark opportunities. We did a Peterson episode that did about 1 million plays in 48 hours, and that was really special about 3 years ago. And but really, it's the same as anything. It's consistency. So you're chipping away over time, doing something that's good, and not stopping, and continuing to iterate, and not running out of motivation, and getting enough sleep, and maintaining your sanity, and it's that. So yes, you sort of turn around. It must be like climbing up Everest or something. You go, God, like I've been going for so long. When am I at the top? But then you turn around, you realize, wow, I've gone a really, really long way here, even though there's maybe still further to go.
Any advice you have for creators who are interested in getting into the podcast space and they're sitting there saying, it's maybe a little saturated, there's a lot of people already in it. What would you say to someone in that position?
I think the best way to be successful is to just follow your instincts and do whatever is interesting to you. And given that you are 1 out of 7 billion people, no one else has your particular blend of interests. So no one else can create the show that you can. Now, the show that you can create might be terrible, but it also might be awesome, and you won't find out unless you try.
I felt that way about the interview. I said it could be terrible, it could be awesome. Thankfully, it has been awesome. Chris Williamson, thanks for being here.
Appreciate you, man.
Congratulations.